Well, hello and welcome to the Learning Curve 3D. In this channel, we explore that age-old adage, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, my name's Scott, I'm 60 years old, and we're gonna see if this old dog can't learn a new trick or two. There are a few things that I am learning, such as the older I get, the less I seem to know, and never trust a fart. You may notice behind me that I am running Bamboo Lab machines, and I also have the Snapmaker U1, but my main focus is actually going to be on this one right here, the Ideaformer IR3 V2. One of the reasons is Bamboo Labs are great. You set them up, you send them a print, and they run, but that's all you really can do with them. Bamboo's got their ecosystem locked down, so you really don't have a lot of control over what happens apart from the slicer. Snapmaker's a little better. As far as I'm learning, you can do different things with that, but this thing is like totally different. Whole different animal, whole different slicer. Everything has to be done through Clipper or Marlin or whatever the firmware is that we're running. See, I don't even know. But anyway, I was gonna get into some designing. I don't even have the test print with me, but it doesn't matter. I was gonna get into some design work with y'all, but then I noticed I was having a problem with this conveyor belt printer, and that is that the conveyor belt itself was tracking to one side. Had an idea. I like taking things apart. I love tinkering with things. So this video is about taking this thing apart, making the adjustments I feel that it needed. At the end, you'll see that I did pretty well, I think, but it's still tracking off a little bit, and I'm having to compensate on the roller end a little bit more than I like. So I'm gonna have to take it apart again, but for now, hope you enjoy this video and hope you learn something with me. This is my Ideaformer IR3 V2 conveyor belt printer. I bought this because it's capable of printing like infinitely in one direction. On this printer, this is the Z direction, this is the X, and up the gantry is the Y. And also I found out that I printed this little piece because I needed a wire guide. It turns out I don't know how to measure yet. However, it prints just like that, and it's capable of doing the overhangs with no supports. So this printed on there, no brims, no supports, in about 8 minutes. And it came out really nice, I think. It's just too small. However, this printer has an issue. If you notice right here, there's a black line. And there's a little bit of silver between the black line and the edge of the conveyor. This belt is tracking in that direction. And I have loosened this side as much as I dare. However, that side's like banjo string tight. So what I'm thinking is either these rails aren't exactly parallel with each other, or the fixed roller isn't square with the frame, because I shouldn't have to adjust this roller that much and have this much slack in that belt on one side to keep it from tracking. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this thing apart, we're going to take some measurements, and we're going to see what is askew with this frame and see if we can't fix the problem. First thing we have to do is remove the roller bed. Should be just 4 screws. And when I put this roller bed on, I don't know if you can see this line, but this was dragging, and it ended up scratching my scratching the belt. Took off some of the coating on the belt, but that's okay because it almost barely can't print over there. I don't think it's going to affect it. Hopefully not. All right, we loosened the 4 screws. They got these little nuts on there that are thinner on one side than the other, and when you loosen them up, they just turn and pop right out of the track. So we'll set this off to the side, get the power turned off, and probably ought to unplug it for safety. Next thing we'll do is take off the display real quick. Just plug and play. We'll set that off to the side. Next, the spool holder. This is a little more interesting because we got to unplug the motors, the sensor, and the cable to the hot end. When I put it together, I wire tied that. Wow, who put those on? These, I believe, are threaded into the frame. I think I'll just go ahead and take all these off and get this right out of the way. Now we'll get the other side. Okay, now there's 2 bolts that go up in the back here that loosen up the top part of this frame, and this should come right off. And there we have it. Now comes the tricky part. I think if we go from here, 78. Oh yeah, there's something definitely off there because that's only 79 and a half. So I think we're out of square. Well, that's interesting. That would explain it. I got to take a look at it now and see what we're going to do. See how we're going to straighten this out. So I loosened the roller up 9 turns each, even though I know this side wasn't the same as that side. And I wrote it down so I don't forget. Now, I did go out and get my rusty old level, or square, and I can almost see, and it's not much, it's just a little tiny bit that this thing has to come this way. So I do believe that if we loosen up these cross members a little, we might be able to get that shimmied into place. We'll try. Forgot where I put my wrench. All right, here goes nothing. Not sure what the best way to do this is. Where's my tape measure? There it is. I think we're gaining on it. By cracky, that is pretty doggone close right there. Give her a little snug. See how it likes that? Oh, I think she moved about just a half a millimeter or so. That's a lot better than it was. Let's see if she'll stay when we crank on these. We're going to check the tightness of the other ones. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to line that belt back up. Okay, now I'll tighten these back up evenly again. Unfortunately, I don't remember how far off that one was, but we can put it back together and test it now. So let me put this back together and we'll show you how to test it. All right, one other very important part to putting this back together. I've seen a lot of comments online where it seems like there's good bed adhesion on one side and not the other. And I think it's because their gantry's out of, this angle's off on the gantry. So I am going to make sure that we just snug this down so it doesn't move. I've already checked this side, but we'll check it again. Certainly doesn't hurt to triple check these angles to make sure everything's okay. Yeah, that didn't take very long, did it? All right, let's plug everything back in and we'll test it. Okay, if I did everything right, this thing should fire right back up again. Got to turn it on first. It's a good sign. Looky there. Now if I remember right, we go here, and then we go here. And the conveyor belt should turn 5 times. And there's a line right here on this roller that I can keep an eye on. So let's let that turn 5 times and we'll be right back. Seems like it's holding that line pretty well. I can't believe that I screwed that up. Boy, I really gouged that thing too right in there. Whew. Wow, look at that. Smooth move there, X-Lax. I think we nailed it. Looks like it migrated just a little tiny bit, but I think it's not going any farther. Might have found its sweet spot. Looks like it's got at least one more turn to go. I think I'll clean the bed, put on a little bit of hairspray. It's good stuff, man. Cheap insurance. No bed adhesion problems. There we go. That was it. I'm happy with it. Problem solved. If you have one of these printers and the belt's not tracking, I suggest you check that. Thanks for watching.